Hello everyone and welcome. Today we are going to talk about efficient coloring tips, how to make dental coloring easy, fast, and aesthetic. Our goal is to help you save time while still creating beautiful, natural-looking restorations. Let's go. The content is mainly divided into 4 parts, which will be introduction of Aconia coloring liquid and the coloring process and the introduction of artist kit and hands-on demo. First of all, let's look at our coloring liquid kit. Standard kit for Vita 16 shade, master kit for Vita 26 shade, and an artist kit for aesthetic solution. Standard kit and master kit can be used on dentin color, only for white Aconia, and they can also separate to translucency kit. It depends on which material you use. For example, if you use STS, we have HTS standard kit. If you use ST white, we provide ST standard kit. If you want more color and to achieve such as pink, blue color, the artist kit is a good choice. They can make your staining process easier and make your teeth look more natural. And the kit can be used on all blocks, such as white, pre-shade, and multi-layer. In addition, we also have a separate bottle of TO1, which main function is to increase the transparency of incisal part. In order to maintain the good effect of coloring liquid, it's recommended to use a special container to store it. Do not mix them. Store it in an environment not higher than 25 degrees. Too high temperature will affect the coloring liquid. It's the best to be 6 to 8 degrees, and pay attention to the shelf life is 2 years. Next, I will introduce the entire coloring process. First of all, we need to prepare these tools, including coloring liquid, which requires the use of brushes, and the brush should be not mixed. When coloring different liquid, you need to clean the brush. In addition, we need to use plastic containers and plastic holders. All of the tools used in coloring must be plastic, not metal, because metal will affect the effect of coloring liquid and will pollute the liquid. In addition, we need to use a timer, tissue, a ceramic plate, and clean water. And we need to take coloring liquid out from refrigerator half an hour in advance. Clean restoration with brush and air gun to avoid white point after centering. And we need to wear gloves and wash hands before coloring because the oil will prevent the coloring liquid absorbing. Let's take a look at 2 coloring techniques. The first one is mostly used when you just want basic coloring, especially for copying bridge. It's very fast. If you need a customized color, such as gingival color or make the incisal part transparency, you can use artist kit to achieve aesthetic coloring technique. Their previous operations are all the same. First, shake the liquid evenly. Then, brush TO1 in incisal part. Then, dip in with dentin coloring liquid and use tissue to absorb the excess liquid. Then, for the fast coloring technique, we can dry it completely for 30 to 60 minutes. For aesthetic technology, we can dry it for 5 to 10 minutes before coloring artist kit. Finally, the same, dry the restoration completely for 30 to 60 minutes. Now, let's follow step by step. Firstly, brush TO1 from incisal to middle 1/3. Brush 2 or 3 times. When we brush TO1, we must brush it vertically, not horizontally. Vertical brush can make the teeth more natural, but horizontal brush will make it boundary line between incisor part and the dentin part. The next step is immersing. For a single crown, we can dip for 10 to 15 seconds. And for bridges with pontics, we suggest dipping for 5 to 8 seconds because the thickness of the teeth will affect absorption. Be careful not to use metal tools, and it's recommended to dip in immediately after brushing TO1, so that the TO1 can move to dentin part, where it will be more natural. Absorb the excess liquid on the surface with tissue immediately after dipping. Especially pay attention to the inner part. If you don't do that, it will lead to dark color. Then, we can place the tooth on a ceramic plate, making sure to invert it. The incisor part is facing down, so that the color of incisor part does not darken during the drying process as a result of the evaporation of the liquid. Next, we dry it in the oven at a temperature between 80 degrees to 100 degrees. For a single crown, drying takes 30 minutes, and for a long bridge, it will take longer. It's recommended to dry it for 16 minutes. If you dry them together, so you can dry them more than 16 minutes. For exact technique, we can only dry it 5 to 10 minutes, and we can brush special colors with artist kit. Note that it still required complete drying after this step. Next, let's take more details about artist kit. Let's look at a few examples first. This case shows coloring on the gingiva and the gingival circles and the incisor part. This one shows coloring of the fissures and the small surface cracks. These effects are done with coloring, so they look natural and last longer. It also makes the staining easier later. Our kit gives you many coloring choices. We have V1, V2, V3 to change the value, how light or dark the tooth looks. And we also have G1, G2, G3 for gingival color. And we offer blue and gray translucency shade and some special effect colors. V1 is suitable for covering discolored stems, metal abutment, and other substructures used on inner surface, and V2, V3 are used outside to increase or decrease the value. Let's look at this. On the left, no V1, you can see the metal color. On the right, with V1, the metal is hidden. Here is the effect of V2, and this is V3. Both help adjust the overall value of the tooth. For gingiva, we have 3 shades. The red one is most popular. You only need to apply it 5 to 6 times to get a nice gingiva color. And this saves a lot of time on staining. And we also have 2 incisor color, blue high translucency and gray high translucency. Blue translucency used on sharp parts like ridges and cups. Gray translucency used on other areas to make the incisor edge look more 3D. Here, you can see a clear blue translucency effect on the incisor edge by TO2, and this is the result of TO3. P1, P2, and P3 are for some dark teeth. O1, O2, and O3 help create facial effects like cracks, stains. Because these effects are done inside, they stay even after polishing. Unlike stains, which can be removed easily, Coloring are stable and long-lasting. This is the result using P1 and P2. You can see the difference. Let's try it. We will discover more magic things.
Okay, so before we start the coloring, we have to make sure that we wear a plastic glove to make sure the restoration not polluted. You can wear a plastic glove or you can wash your hands clearly. Okay, so first of all, we use the plastic clip to hold the restoration, and then we take a brush and we take some TO1 because now I want to add some translucency on the incisal part, so we use TO1. To brush on the incisal part. It's recommended to brush 2 times. Okay, just like this. And for the coloring of the gingiva area, we need to add a undertone, which is G1 and G2 that we just mentioned before. This is to make sure our future staining and glazing more convenient, while also saving the amount of glaze paste used. So now I will change another brush. First of all, I take some G1. G1 is pink for free gingiva area. Then we change another pen and take some G2 to apply the red for attached gingiva area. Generally speaking, it's necessary to apply 4 to 5 times when you apply the G1 and G2 on the gingiva area. We need to keep brushing until the restoration fully absorbs the coloring liquid, but the actual situation shall prevail. So here I just brush 2 to 3 times, but if you do it by yourself, you have to brush it until the restoration fully absorbs the coloring liquid. So that's it. And then we have to dipping it in the coloring liquid. So here we choose the HTSA2. As you can see here, the time is only 5 to 8 seconds. Then we do dabbing to absorb the coloring liquid. Okay, so that's it. This is the basic coloring process. And after drying and sintering, you may get a restoration like this.
Now I want to introduce the tips about V1 coloring liquid. And now many technicians have made this situation the abutment case or dark base color. So if you miss this situation, you need to do the coloring liquid to opaque the base color. So we will use V1 coloring liquid to do this step. And before the coloring step, you need to prepare some tools. You need to do some preparation. First, you need to wash your hands or wear gloves. And then you need to prepare the restoration. And before it, you need to clean it by air gun and brush. And prepare the coloring liquid. Here, this is V1. And tools, this is brush. and plastic holder. And then we can do the coloring. When you brush V1, remember do not brush the margin area, because if you color this area, this area will be white after centering. So avoid this area. And then we can use brush to get some color liquid. Do not too much. And then one circle, brush one circle. It's enough. And then put it on the ceramic plant. Okay, next one. Brush. Okay.